Spielberg, I find quite confused.
I think it's a privilege to call yourself just, and it's something that you have to earn.
I find him to be, unfortunately, not as good at remembering the time that we spent together.
Oh my God! Tom Cruise and Julia Roberts, two of Hollywood's biggest stars, have just dropped a bombshell that's threatening to unravel everything we thought we knew about one of the industry's most beloved directors, Steven Spielberg.
Well, I think what Steven Spielberg did, and Scott Frank also, is he knows it's there.
And he talked more about his personal life. I know more about, him and his life.
Now, for years, Spielberg has been Hollywood's golden boy. But behind those glittering awards and blockbuster hits, it seems there might be some dark, scandalous truths lurking. Can you believe it? Let's rewind a bit. Last year, Tom Cruise was the toast of the Oscars nominees luncheon. He was glowing, and it wasn't just from the spotlight. Spielberg, his former director and one-time buddy, was singing his praises to the high heavens. He even declared that Cruise might have single-handedly saved Hollywood with Top Gun Maverick. Talk about high praise. But here's where it gets juicy. Apparently, Spielberg and Cruise had been on the outs for nearly 20 years, and nobody's really talked about why until now. Industry insiders Kim Masters and Matthew Baloney recently spilled the tea on Masters' KCRW radio show, The Business. According to them, the falling out traces back to 2005. Remember when Cruise was head over heels for Katie Holmes and deep into his Scientology phase? Well, it seems his fervent promotion of both overshadowed his movie duties, causing a serious rift with Spielberg.
It just goes on and tells a great story, but it's incredible what's happening in the world today.
Now, let's talk about that wild moment in May 2005 when Cruise made headlines for his couch-jumping stunt on Oprah's show. It wasn't just the acrobatics that had everyone talking. Cruise, a staunch advocate of Scientology, got into hot water for his outspoken views on psychiatry.
Psychiatry. There is no such thing as a chemical imbalance. There's ways of vitamins.
He didn't hold back when he criticized his friend Brooke Shields for using antidepressants to treat her postpartum depression. Cruise's Scientology beliefs had him at odds with psychiatric therapy, and he was quick to label it all as pseudoscience. The drama escalated when he had a fiery showdown with Matt Lauer on Today. Cruise came off as combative, dismissing psychiatry and ripping into Ritalin, a drug used for ADHD. It was like a verbal fireworks show that left many stunned. According to Masters, Spielberg believed that Cruise's antics had overshadowed the release of War of the Worlds and cost the film some $30 million at the box office. Can you imagine? Page 6 revealed that Spielberg was absolutely livid with Cruise, especially after learning that the director knew kids who actually benefited from Ritalin. But the real deal breaker? Spielberg casually mentioned a doctor who prescribes the medication during a chat with Cruise. Little did he know, this doctor was also a friend of Spielberg's. Not long after this conversation, the doctor's office was swarmed by a picket line of Scientologists. Yikes! Despite Cruise's assurances that he wasn't behind the protest, Spielberg was fuming. And it wasn't just him. Kate Capshaw, Spielberg's wife, was reportedly equally irate. The Spielbergs were left in the lurch, waiting for an explanation that never came. Now, fast forward to today, and it seems like old wounds are being reopened. Julia Roberts, another Hollywood heavyweight, is making waves and reigniting her old feud with Spielberg.
Newly released court documents relating to the Jeffrey Epstein. They include associates, friends, and alleged victims of the disgraced billionaire who died in jail 5 years ago.
Remember back in January when a court in Manhattan released that list of names connected to Jeffrey Epstein? Well, it's heating up again. At the time, rumors were buzzing that Spielberg was on that list, along with a bunch of other big names. The internet was split. Some fans were shocked at the thought of Spielberg being involved in Epstein's scandals, while others thought he might not be entirely clean.
I know more about, him and his life and Amy Irving and what have you than I probably said about my own life.
Now, Julia Roberts and Steven Spielberg have a history of not getting along. Their feud goes all the way back to the late 80s when they were working on the movie Hook. Spielberg had some harsh words about Roberts' behavior on set, saying she was unprofessional and struggled to follow directions. At the time, Roberts was dealing with a messy personal life, including her rocky relationship with co-star Kiefer Sutherland. They were engaged and set to marry right after filming Wrapped, but things went south when Roberts discovered Kiefer cheating, leading to the engagement being called off.
It wasn't what she wanted to do in the end. And I think it took a lot of courage, in amongst all of that other stuff, to be able to say, I can't do this.
Spielberg noticed that Roberts' rocky relationship with Kiefer was affecting her work attitude, and he didn't hold back in a 60 Minutes interview. It was not a great time for Julia and I to be working together, Spielberg admitted. Roberts was deeply hurt by Spielberg's comments. She had confided in him during the shoot and tried her best to stay professional, so his remarks felt like a betrayal. In a Vanity Fair interview, Roberts slammed Spielberg for not standing up for her against accusations of being difficult to work with. She called him a turncoat, saying, "I saw that and my eyes popped out of my head. I couldn't believe that this person I trusted was hesitating to defend me." Now, with their fiery history, it was only a matter of time before someone asked Julia Roberts what she thought about Steven Spielberg's name popping up on the Epstein list. And Roberts didn't hold back. When asked, she suggested that Spielberg might have some dark and unsettling interests that were even creepier than the stuff in his films.
I'm not even going to talk about Spielberg. Steven Spielberg is a...
But wait, it gets even wilder. Recently, some unsettling documents from the Indiana Jones filming days have resurfaced. In these pre-production meeting notes, Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, and Lawrence Kasdan are seen discussing the character of Indiana Jones, and the details are pretty alarming. The notes reveal a discussion about a young female character who falls in love with Indiana Jones. Lucas mentions, "I was thinking that this old guy could have been his mentor. He could have known this little girl when she was just a kid, had an affair with her when she was 11. Another participant chimes in, "And he was 42. Lucas adds, "He hasn't seen her in 12 years. Now she's 22. It's a real strange relationship." Then Spielberg makes a chilling comment, "She had better be older than 22. Lucas responds, "He's 35 and he knew her 10 years ago when he was 25 and she was only 12. They even discussed making the girl the one pursuing Jones rather than the other way around, and toyed with the idea of increasing her age to around 15, but no older, to keep the story edgy."
15-year-old in a relationship with a 27-year-old.
Fans were thoroughly disturbed when these details came to light, revealing just how problematic and unsettling the early discussions about the Indiana Jones character were. Like, seriously, who thought it was cool to make a young girl hook up with an older guy just to make the movie edgier? But hey, it's Hollywood, right? That place where all the shady stuff happens, where big shots use young, eager talents to satisfy their creepy cravings. It's messed up, y'all. Now, if you think Spielberg's interest in young characters was a one-off, think again. There's talk that during Jurassic Park, he got pretty close with Ariana Richards. Allegedly, he sent her caregiver away so they could be alone in her hotel room, supposedly to go over lines. Sources claim Spielberg then put Richards in uncomfortable and confusing situations. Unfortunately, that first night was just the start of a series of strange encounters, with Spielberg allegedly taking advantage of her. Richards reportedly has been in therapy for years and avoids discussing the movie or giving interviews. After Jurassic Park, she did a few more films but then left Hollywood behind. Now she's a painter, and maybe that's been her way of finding peace and expressing herself after everything she went through. Now, let's not forget about Spielberg's connection to Roman Polanski, a Polish director who's also a friend of Spielberg's. Not to jump to conclusions, but there's that saying about birds of a feather, right? Polanski, like Spielberg, has a troubling history with accusations of inappropriate behavior toward young women. On March 10, 1977, Roman Polanski, then 43, was arrested and charged in Los Angeles with multiple offenses involving Samantha Geimer, who was 13 at the time. The charges included unlawful intercourse with a minor, rape by use of drugs, perversion, sodomy, lewd and lascivious acts upon a child under 14, and furnishing a controlled substance to a minor. Polanski initially pleaded not guilty to all charges, but later accepted a plea deal. However, he fled from justice in February 1978, leaving the United States for England and subsequently France, just hours before his scheduled sentencing. Many fans aren't surprised by the later accusations against Spielberg, especially considering his ties to Polanski. Given that movies often reflect real life and directors might project their own fantasies into their work, it's not too far-fetched to connect these dots. Stories like Thandiwe Newton's, where she revealed her experiences of being objectified on a casting couch, only reinforced this perception. Newton disclosed that she was manipulated deliberately when she was young and joined the industry. She said, "I was 16 and a virgin. I'd been psychologically groomed over weeks. I didn't fight him off. I was almost paralyzed with fear. It was abuse." It's crucial to note that while Spielberg hasn't been directly accused of mistreating Ariana Richards, there were allegations made by actor Crispin Glover in 2003. Glover, known for his role as George McFly in Back to the Future, claimed in his book and subsequent film, What Is It?, that Spielberg's interest in portraying young boys in compromising situations might hint at personal inclinations. Now, it's important to remember that it often takes a long time for victims to gather the courage to speak out against such acts. By then, the perpetrators may be older and less powerful, having already caused significant harm. This is why figures like Ariana Grande and Jennifer Lawrence advocate for immediate steps to protect people working in Hollywood. Lawrence argues that if we can create safe environments for animals during filming, we should prioritize doing the same for humans in such potentially toxic environments. She believes it's crucial to prevent these cases from happening in the first place rather than waiting and hoping they don't occur again in the future. So far, Spielberg hasn't faced legal action for the allegations against him. While Hollywood insiders might whisper about it behind closed doors, no one has had the courage to take him to court. With his name on Epstein's list and the surrounding controversies, it feels like it's only a matter of time before someone steps up. It's crucial to protect children from elites who might exploit their innocence for harm. We need to create a safer environment in Hollywood and everywhere else where power dynamics can be abused. So what do y'all think about this messy situation? Do you believe these allegations against Spielberg? Or do you think it's all just Hollywood gossip? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, besties, it's important to take all of this information with a grain of salt. These are serious allegations, and while it's important to listen to victims and take their stories seriously, it's also crucial to remember that everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, and stay fabulous. You are watching Hot Gossip. Goodbye.